in hand, he's on a mission, shaping dreams with precision.
Hi everyone, welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Last week I gave you the news about a man who was released from prison by mistake. During that report, I advised you that around 260 people every year are released by mistake. The headlines in the news today: 2 more people have been released in the last week, and now there's a big search, a manhunt operation to find them. Let's look at the report. This is the BBC website, so let's just have a look. It says here, police manhunt continues for 2 men mistakenly released from London prison. Now it's constantly being updated, so you can see there that there's reports still coming even as we're looking at this. So let's have a little look. Here's a timeline. Who knew what and when in the latest manhunt for prisoners released in error? So it all started on the 29th of October. This is more or less a week after they had released the Ethiopian guy that we spoke about last time. It says here, and this is a very recent report, on the 29th of October, a 24-year-old Algerian man is mistakenly released from His Majesty's prison in Wandsworth. At 1 o'clock on the 4th of November, the prison service informs the police, the Metropolitan Police, that's the London Police, that a prisoner has been released in error on 29th of October. Overnight into the 5th of November, David Lammy, that's the man who's, I suppose he has overall charge of prisons, he's informed about the release. Later, yesterday morning, the Conservatives, that's the opposition to the government, they find out what's happened. And then 12 o'clock on the 5th of November, the government refuse to answer when asked whether any more asylum seekers have been wrongly released. Because these 2 here, who are being searched for right now, they're not asylum seekers. I don't know what they are. Hopefully this will tell us. So this man, Mr. Lammy, he's refusing to answer whether there's been any more who are asylum seekers. In other words, refugees. Right, let's go on. On the 5th of November at 12:45, Cartledge, we don't know who that is, tells the House of Commons that a second imprisoned migrant has been mistakenly freed, and the government, Mr. Lammy, declined to comment. So this guy, Cartledge, it looks like he's from the opposition, it says here. He's the Shadow Defense Secretary. So that means the opposition. So what the opposition government do is they set up a shadow government. They have all the same people in their party who are shadowing and closely watching people in the government. Yeah, so their government closely mirror the government in power. Hence, it's called the Shadow Defense Secretary, not the real one, but the one who's looking over his shoulder. Okay, and then yesterday, a little bit later, the government, Mr. Lamy, releases a statement saying he's outraged and appalled by the foreign criminal wanted by the police. So you can see there he's quickly moving the story away from the mistake into the fact that a foreign man, an Algerian, was in our prison. Later yesterday, Surrey Police, that's the neighbour to the Metropolitan Police, Surrey is in that area, launched a manhunt after it became aware of a second prisoner, William Smith, being released by mistake on Monday. The Metropolitan Police confirm a search is underway for an Algerian national, Brahim Kadur Cherif, and at 9:05 last night, the government had not been accurately informed of key details when he was in the questions earlier, which is why he had declined to comment. So this morning, Lamy under pressure. Yeah, so this man who looks after prisons, who is the government's representative, I'm guessing he'll be asked to quit because it's under his watch that these things have happened. I mean, I don't know, but no doubt somebody will be a martyr for this. Heads will roll, as they say here. In other words, somebody will get fired, and the prison service are already saying it's not people that's the problem, it's that their system is really, really overworked. So these are the news headlines. Prisons in chaos, not again, writes the Daily Mirror. The I-Paper leads with manhunt for new missing prisoners as Deputy Prime Minister feels the heat over blunders. Yes, that's right. So I should point out here that this man, David Lammy, the Justice Secretary, he's also the Deputy Prime Minister. So it could be that he'll get fired because it's under his watch. He is the Justice Secretary. Here we are. The justice system is failing. The buck stops with Lamy. The buck stops, that's an idiom to say who's to blame. If I make a mistake, I can put my hand up and I can say, the buck stops with me. It means it's my problem. The buck stops with me. The buck stops with Lamy in this case. It's his responsibility, and there he is shouting at somebody. Can he survive? Well, we'll need to see. In the old days, they would do the honourable thing and resign immediately. But these days, well, they tend to hang on until they're pushed. It says here, last week, after a migrant sex offender was mistakenly released from prison, Justice Secretary David Lammy said he was implementing the strongest release checks that have ever been in place, and then 2 more prisoners were wrongly released. So you can see there, it's always dangerous, perilous for a government when it clearly lacks grip of an issue. In theory, this could bring the government down, but I doubt very much if that's going to happen. And there we are at the bottom of this story. According to government figures published in July, 262 prisoners were released in error in the year to March of this year, a 128% increase on 115 in the previous 12 months. In other words, it has been a problem for some time and is getting worse. Lamy said, I put in place the toughest checks we've ever had. Well, clearly they're not tough enough. So who knows what's going to happen? And that's today's story. Police are busy searching for these 2 men. Will they find them? Well, I'm sure they will. But will they be the scapegoats which will excuse the government this time from their mistakes. Well, that's it from me for today. Take care. See you. Bye.